We're here in magical Monaco for this afternoon's qualifying session, which will be getting underway shortly.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are here for the legendary Monaco Grand Prix. Apologies about the break between episodes of career mode. You will find out a little later why that happened, but I don't want to spoil it. It'll completely ruin the video. But anyway, here we are for the Monaco Grand Prix. Qualifying is underway for the first session. It looks like we will have a clear session in the way of weather, so we don't need to worry about that for the entirety of the weekend. So that is nice to have a nice, straightforward weekend. But heading into qualifying, confidence is very high. I was very, very close to the pace of Fernando Alonso. I was really hoping that I'd be able to be within striking distance of them pace-wise, and coming to this race and going through the first three practice sessions, it really did reaffirm how strong the pace was. Going through Q1, we're a second away, but that's fine because I was only running with standard and rich revs throughout the entirety of that session. And now as we head into Q2, we're still running in standard revs, to be fair, so yeah, not pushing to the maximum. I was, for this first run in Q2, running with the set of tyres that I used in Q1. I was wanting to just get laps in and just kind of build my momentum, build my pace, because this was my first round of career mode back on the game in over a week. So I went through the whole Christmas period, not really doing much on the way of recording F1 episodes, and this is my first time back. I think like Boxing Day or the day after, and so yeah, I didn't feel entirely in it, and so I wanted to do more and more laps. But even though I'm slightly rusty, I was very close to the pace of Fernando Alonso. Very surprisingly, 3/10 away from Fernando in the opening, run of Q2, which is very surprising. But as we head out for our final run here, fresh set of tyres, we're now using max fuel mixture, so we're going to get pretty much all the benefit of the top end speed. So we'll see what we can do. Purple to the middle sector, but if you look at the top left, we are definitely not purple. We're 3.5 tenths down on Fernando Alonso, so I don't know what the game is playing at there, but at the time I didn't know it. I was like, oh my god, I'm purple, this is amazing, life is great right now. Through the final corner, up to the line, I was expecting pole position, didn't quite get it, 2 tenths away. So we did gain a little bit of time on Fernando in the final two sectors there, but by not quite enough. 2 tenths away, and the time that I did, to be honest, wasn't that great. Well, it wasn't perfect, shall we say. So there was the potential to still go out there and get pole position today. So I was ever hopeful of displacing Fernando and potentially getting a race win. That's ultimately what the goal is for this round. We need to close points on Fernando, and we have to do it by getting pole position today. So as we go through the middle sector, very technical through here, Portiere, very important exit. I always understeer a little bit through there. Not too sure if I should take it in second gear, but I feel like third gear is probably the happy medium. But going through the Novo chicane, missed the entrance just ever so slightly, but overall it was a pretty good run through there. To back, my favourite corner in all of F1. I love the swimming pool section. It's so flowing through here. Again, 3.5 tenths down through the first and second sector split. Down into Rascasse now. Second gear, lock up both the front tyres. And you can tell we're really pushing here, 11 tenths as we go through the final corner, open the DRS and up to the line. Alonso's done a 9.6, we do a 9.7. How does that make sense? I do not know, but that is pole position for the Monaco Grand Prix, or at least a provisional pole position. No, he must have done a 9.8. I mistakenly read his 9.6, it was a 9.8. But as we gear up for our final run here, I wanted to make sure this was guaranteed, because the track always gets faster as the session goes on, and the final minute or two, there's always the potential to get pipped at the line by the AI. So I knew I wasn't safe, so I had to go out and do another lap. So here we go. I'm going to walk you guys through this. Second gear through Mirabeau. I've actually tapped the inside wall there, and that's cost me about 2 tenths, because we were up by half a second. Now we're down by about 1.5 tenths there. So yeah, really costly, but we just got to get on with it and hopefully recover enough time in the third sector. I did miss the final corner as well, so yeah, there is a little bit of potential to find more time. Heading into the Novel chicane, ignore my voice drop there. Second gear, really launch it off the apex there, and that's really put us in the green there. Through to back, millimetre perfect. There is absolutely no more margin between the walls of this Monaco Grand Prix circuit. Second gear down into Rascasse once again. We're down at the moment, but we know we can improve through this final corner. Really smooth exit. And there we go. We improved by 800ths. Fernando was actually improved as well, but it wasn't enough to get pole position for the Monaco Grand Prix. Fernando has just sniped me in the final few seconds. Like an eBay auction. We're left pretty embarrassed. It is second place, but look at the gap to the rest of the field. Hamilton's 7/10 behind. It's... wow. That's a two-horse race. Stoffel Van Dorn, a second away. That is really embarrassing for him, but yeah, I won a pole position today. I felt like we had the pace, and that tiny mistake at the Mirabeau corner where we tapped the inside part of the wall cost us potentially a race win. So yeah, we've got a lot of work to do for this Monaco Grand Prix. We're running with 11-11 wings, so that's going to make overtaking very, very difficult for us. But we'll see if we can make it work anyway. Starting from second place on the grid. Well, anything's possible. We can do the undercut. We could possibly do the overcut. I don't know. Like, if we encounter traffic as well with lap cars, anything's possible. But one thing's for certain, we've got a very exciting race ahead of us for this Monaco Grand Prix. Let's get it.
Silly into one. It's going to be crazy in there. Just do your best to stay out of trouble.
I'm sorry, Jeff, but I cannot make any promises about dive bombing into turn 1. It might be our only chance of winning this race, so if the opportunity presents, I'm going to go for it. But welcome, guys, to the Monaco Grand Prix. The gap is 14 points in the championship. Today we need to put a stop to Fernando's dominance that he showed in the first 4 races of Season 4 of this career mode series. We got very lucky in the previous race. Let's hopefully claw back even more in this one. Oh. Oh dear. Well, I was trying to be serious for a minute, and I've only just somehow made contact with Fernando on the formation lap. You can go back and have a look, but I don't know if I actually touched him. It would have had to have been in that hairpin section when I was in cockpit view. I guess I must have misunderstood where his car was in relation to mine, so that's a lesson to never do that again. But we've lost our formation lap. That's okay. We can carry on with the race how we were from second place. 5 red lights for the Monaco Grand Prix, and we're underway. Fernando, I can't lie, that's a perfect start. There's nothing I can do against that. So the dive bomb was entirely not on through turn 1, and we slot into second place. Hamilton in third, absolutely nothing doing for that opening sector of the Grand Prix. We get very close into the hairpin, but yeah, we weren't close enough to make a move stick. So here begins the procession of the Monaco Grand Prix. Alonso's going defensive into the middle sector. I don't know why he's doing that. We might sneak up the inside. I thought about it. He was looking very vulnerable there. Alonso was like half a second in front of me, but still felt the need to defend heading into Tabac. So not too sure what was going on there. Maybe feeling a little bit nervous, a bit edgy in the opening laps of this Grand Prix. As is often the case when you're leading, there's always this expectation on you that you must win. You can't like let it go from there. So maybe that was getting to Fernando at that point. I'm not too sure, but yeah, we're pushing on as hard as we can. Up the inside into Raskas. Had a little look there, but nothing quite on there. It's very close at the moment. It's very close between the two of us. The pace is very, very similar. I'm having to give everything to kind of stay with Fernando at this stage. You can see we kind of get washed out with dirty air a little bit through the high speed stuff, like through the swimming pool, and also as we head through Casino Square, there is a little bit of dirty air at play there, but we really do make up a lot of time in that final chicane, and then through the slower Raskas corner. Turn 1 isn't too bad, but on the balance of things, Fernando is really strong in the first sector, particularly going up the hill. That McLaren Honda really pulls with its straight line speed. My 11-11 wings definitely doesn't help, but that's how I'm achieving the lap time, and I'm able to stay with Fernando because I'm running with so much downforce to kind of compensate the lack of natural downforce this Red Bull has anyway. But We absolutely slid it through the Novo chicane. It was absolutely perfect run through there. We got really close, but we weren't able to do anything with it. Heading into the Novo chicane again, we have really good change of direction in this car, and Alonso was going defensive again like he was on the first lap. There might be a gap that presents itself up the inside into the swimming pool section, and we've got the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. That just came out of nothing. Alonso was going defensive, and we've just stolen it right at the death.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe that. He was side by side with us, and I think to avoid crashing, Fernando has just given up the place. Watch this from the onboard. He lifts, hesitates, opens the steering, and that is the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. You cannot believe how excited I am to get that. Finally, this is the battle we've been waiting for the longest time. We finally win an on-track battle with Fernando Alonso, and let's get the camera ready. Paparazzi on hand to get the thumbnail. That is absolutely perfect scenes. But yes, we have the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. Yeah, I don't know why Alonso was going defensive there. He left the door open. We went for the gap, and I didn't even care. If we both crashed out, I would have been pissed off, but I would have understood, like, if that would have happened, and neither of us would have scored points. I actually would have settled for that, as opposed to Fernando winning this race, and me coming home in second. I did not want to sit idly by and watch him win another race. That was the last thing I wanted to see in this championship, but there we go. We've got the lead of the race. I think Fernando actually made a pit stop at the end of that lap, or the end of the next lap. He's actually switched to plan B. He's doing a 2-stop, so he stopped at the end of lap 7, and now he's encountered very heavy traffic, so if that plan was going to work out and doing the massive undercut on me, he would have had to have emerged in clear air, but it's really fallen apart now for Fernando Alonso in this one. Hamilton second, Vettel third. I think Stoffel Van Dorn is in P4 as well, so there's a lot of work for Fernando to do in these next 5 to 10 laps. He really needs to clear the traffic very quickly. He's got the Haas up next, and then after that, I think he's got a little bit of clear air, but he's lost far too much time relative to me as we dive into the pits. Now, at the end of lap 15, we will be putting on the super soft tyres and now running these to the end of the race. So we're doing the 1-stop, and for the most part, I think everyone else is doing the 1-stop as well, so it's really puzzled me as to why Fernando has switched to the 2-stop. It's, yeah, it's just, it's not gone his way, has it? He's still behind the Haas of, I think, Romain Grosjean, and you can see he's a good 10-15 seconds back, yeah, 10 seconds, and it's actually Magnussen in front. So he's still yet to make another stop. Once he does, Alonso will have clear air, and then it'll be a case of Fernando trying to chase me down. He might have the option of staying out to the end of the race on the supers, but I don't see how that would benefit him, because he'll have older tyres and worse pace than what I will. But you can see here I'm pushing on as much as I can. Fernando sets at 12.4. I go, right, enough of that. I'm going to bang in a fast lap of my own and try and respond to that and just build the gap, just to reaffirm that we were going to win this race. And we just had the pace over him overall. So pushing really hard here. You can see our fastest lap so far is at 12.5. I think Fernando was in the 11s. Or it was a low 12, like a 12.2, I'm not too sure. We go across the line. It is a 11.7. And that is really pacey. At this stage of the Grand Prix, with 20 laps worth of fuel on board, I wasn't done yet. I was going to continue to push on and see what else I can muster up on these super soft tyres while the life was still good. It's always so good in the race to string together fastest laps of the race. I could just do this all day. It really is that satisfying. 11.4 on lap 20. And, yeah, we are faster than Alonso. We've just got a few tenths in hand over him, and we're just continuing to push the envelope over him through the final chicane and into the Rascasse corner. That was it. The game crashed. We will not be winning the Monaco Grand Prix. We have to start again.
What a shame. We could won this race.
Any race on the calendar, any of the, 63 episodes we've recorded so far in the build-up to this, and it would have been okay, probably, but it had to be the one where we were winning in an impossible scenario. So here we go, away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix once again. I did try like a few times to simulate the session to see if I could get the win, and I did it after I got the lead in front of Alonso, but every time it would give Fernando the win and I would be demoted to 4th, no matter what scenario it was. So I had to do it again. I had to do the whole race again, but this time I wasn't taking any prisoners. I was not going to be holding back at all. You can see Alonso does that same fatal flaw that he did in the last race. I just give no shits and go straight up the inside, get the lead back, and now it's all settled. It is kind of restored. We're back in the exact same positions that we were. Myself, Alonso in second, and Hamilton in third, just like it was at the end of lap 19 or 20 or whatever it was. But now, we have to do it all over again. We have to make sure that we don't crash. We have to get through 20 laps of the Grand Prix to kind of get back to where we were. But yeah, I was just pushing on, just making sure that Alonso didn't overtake me. I didn't make any mistakes. There was a huge gap from like the mid-pack to the top 5. I don't know what was going on there. Maybe someone lost a bit of their front wing, was really holding up the guys behind, but now you can see Fernando diving into the pits at the end of like lap 14, lap 15. He's actually changed his strategy for this race. He's learned from his mistakes, and now he's doing the one stop, and he's actually got the undercut on me. So at this point, it's kind of put us on the back foot now, because I wasn't expecting Alonso to pit for another lap or two. I was expecting him to pit on the same lap as what I was, lap 15 or 16. So yeah, this has really put us under pressure now. We're putting in a qualifying lap to get back to the pit lane as quickly as we can. But yeah, it's going to be really close. I think Fernando was actually rejoined in clear air as well, so he may well get the lead of the Grand Prix back yet. Onto the super soft tyres, 2.5 second stop. That's pretty solid for a pit crew that don't have any upgrades on them. So yeah, we've done all we can. I think Alonso has done all he can as well, and we'll see who emerges in the lead of this Monaco Grand Prix. Out of the pit lane, Alonso gets the lead as we head through turn 1. We have the shortcut, and Alonso gets the lead. Okay. We have a race on our hands, ladies and gentlemen.
101%, please, Fernando. 101%.
So here we go then. Back to square one. Trying to win the Monaco Grand Prix and steal it off of Fernando Alonso. He sets the fastest up of the Grand Prix, 11 something there, so already his pace is actually better than what it was in the last attempt. So yeah, it's just made all that more difficult. 11.9 for Fernando for the last lap. I'm only in the 12th, so I need to definitely up my game if I want to be able to run with him. But if you look on the minimap, you can see we're quickly closing on the lap cars, and as we get into the Lowe's hairpin, you can see we've already caught them. That is how slow they're going. Ericsson is pretty much at the back of that queue, and Fernando manages to negotiate him fairly quickly. I don't want to waste any time in negotiating these cars, so I just dive straight up the inside into the Novel chicane, tires locked up and everything, and we just get that done at the death there. So very risky move, probably a bit unnecessary, but the AI around this track, they do not get out of your way. So you've just got to force the overtake, and you've just got to essentially force them out of the way. But Palmer was very gentlemanly there, so very thankful to him for that. Maybe he was against Alonso there. He doesn't really like him in real life, so he allowed me to go through up the inside of Massa. Hulkenberg is up next. Let's hopefully get him through the final corner. Thank you very much. He left the door open too as well, but that was, those Renault cars were the exception for the rest of the field. The rest of the guys, you'll see for the rest of this race, they are not friendly at all when it comes to letting the leaders go through. Like Stroll let Alonso go through fairly nicely at the tunnel section, but then we go through to back, and Stroll completely takes up the apex there. A bit of contact was made as well, and that was really annoying because yeah, every time I kept encountering lap traffic from here on in, they were letting Alonso go through, but they kept getting in my way, like Vettel going side by side with me into the braking zone. It's just not needed. But Alonso goes up the inside of Sainz into the Lowe's hairpin and loses the lead. He loses the lead of the Grand Prix because he got caught up with Sainz. We'll have another replay of this, and you'll see Alonso, he gets sideways in the braking zone on the approach, but I think he got squeezed a little bit too much with Sainz up against the wall. Again, from above, you can just see Alonso just doesn't leave it a space against his fellow countryman Carlos Sainz, and yeah, I guess he's the fault of his own demise there. So yeah, really frustrating way for Fernando to lose the lead, but hey, I'll certainly take it now with the final 15 laps to go. We need to absolutely make sure that we don't lose it from here. Again, this is Alonso overtaking the other Toro Rosso into the Lowe's the chicane, and wow. What a day for the AI. Just, that's really embarrassing. Hitting the inside wall there. I know you guys have done that before. I've certainly done it many times, especially in time trial when you're pushing the limits. This is easily an easy mistake to make, and just tags that inside rear tyre against the wall. Does a little bit of a spin, and I think he actually gets in the way of Lewis Hamilton there, and he might have chipped off a bit of his front wing. There's a Williams there, Felipe Massa losing all of his front wing there. Stoffel Van Dorn caught up behind him, and a few of the Haas drivers as well stuck behind in the process. So we might see a safety car here for the final 13 laps of this Monaco Grand Prix. One that I don't know, I don't think I'd mind, to be honest, because it would get all this lap traffic out the way. Fernando is up my ass anyway, so I don't think that really affects me. But we got the inside of one of the Haas drivers into the hairpin, and this is the frustrating part of the race where I just had to get all the lap traffic out of the way because the marshals weren't doing anything for me. They were throwing the blue flags up, but no one was really just jumping out of the way. K-Mag did, so I mean, that was a plus.
Just managed the gap to the car behind. We think he's got a time penalty.
And Fernando has not a drive-through penalty, but a 3-second time penalty. So that is a little bit odd. We'll have a little look on the incident screen in the race director. It turns out he's got a corner cutting penalty from lap 25. So I don't know how he's managed that. The AI never cut corners, so it must have been like a avoiding collision kind of thing, maybe with a lap car, but I never really saw anything behind me, so it's a bit of an odd one. But 3 laps to go. I think the win from here is pretty much guaranteed. I've just got to make sure Fernando doesn't overtake me in some kind of surprise attack, but he wasn't really fast anywhere apart from going up the hill towards Casino Square, so I knew where he was fast. I had that covered off. I was running in rich revs there and making sure I got a nice exit off of turn 1, and for the most part, Fernando left me pretty much unchallenged. He had no answer to me really through the middle and third sector. The dirty air was doing enough there to keep him at bay. The gap was always, very close, but it was never quite close enough to make me feel threatened or anything like that. So it was just a case of pretty much bringing it home to the finish. But as we go through the final corner, first race win of the season, at some point I probably thought was impossible.
Superb driving. That's the race win.
Oh man, there we go. We finally make it to the end of the Monaco Grand Prix, and the game did not crash on me. Thank goodness for that. It's a race win, and 25 points added to the tally. I think the biggest feeling I got from this race was just relief that we actually managed to beat Fernando. We were so evenly matched over the course of this race. I don't think I've ever had a Monaco race where I've been so level on pace with another driver for the race win. It was really quite special. I really did enjoy that one. I think towards the end of that one, I was really just backing off because I wanted to make it to the end. I think if I was still chasing Fernando, I probably still could have pushed, or maybe I could have maybe stretched the lead if I was really motivated, but I knew I just had to push at 90%, and I would have made it to the end, winning the race anyway. So in the end, I really didn't want to risk it. So we get to the end, we draw the championship ever closer. 7 points is the difference now. I think in the last episode I asked you guys if you thought, or the episode before, a lot of you guys said that I can't win this race, I can't win this championship. There is absolutely no way I'm going to beat McLaren. But all of a sudden, the gap is 7 points, and we have an upgrade on the way. Rear downforce, I covered that just before the race started, so that'll be applying to the car. Not in the next race, but the race after. Unfortunately, the upgrade speed for Red Bull has been reset to the default, so a lot of upgrades are going to take a long time to get in place, so I have to do a lot of invitational events in the background to make sure then we can get these upgrades on faster. But guys, that has been this episode for today. The Monaco Grand Prix. Smash a like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And see plenty more F1 2017 videos. My voice has been a little bit off today and I'm not too sure why. So apologies about that. But there we go. First race win. We closed the championship. It's probably going to extend a little bit with Fernando getting on a bit of a roll now in future episodes. But I'll do my best to contain him and see if we can catch him towards the end. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.